Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast for all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time. I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So you can call every day now from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We are live on the air, both Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So you can call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424 to discuss careers. You can discuss finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage. You can discuss divorce, raising children, blending families, dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is brought to you by Fiji Water. By now you know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a monthly commitment to support the broadcast, we thank you for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God, to be here to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life that you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I want to get right into the broadcast, beginning with a communication that I received yesterday by text to inquiring about life insurance, the benefits and the burdens. And this was very interesting because we see it so often that people do not have life insurance. They're either insured or underinsured, or they have no life insurance whatsoever. And so I will remind everyone, we had a insurance expert live on our broadcast previously. We are going to bring her back to give us information regarding all types of insurance. Today, I just want to focus on the text that came in regarding life insurance. So it's real important that we examine where we are with life insurance. And let me tell you what that looks like. And then I'll have the expert come on and talk about it. But let me just address what we've seen over the years, particularly as a pastor, when you are called by grieving families who are dealing with the passing of someone. I won't say the loss, because if they're saved, we know where they're going, they're not lost. But the passing over to the other side of someone, family member. And often enough, the family member may not have insurance at all. That's the first thing. And that becomes a burden to the family members. It becomes a burden because the family members are then expected to bury their loved one. The problem is life insurance, when you consider what it covers, funeral expenses, burial, the opening of the vault, all of those things are costly. And having the right amount of life insurance will first of all cover burial expenses. But then we have to go one step further than that, and we have to consider what it does for our family when we move forward, when the family moves forward, let me say that. Does the life insurance policy that you have cover enough not only for burial expenses, because that's one thing that we see often. People just don't even have enough life insurance to bury them. But then the family has to go on after you're gone. And if you're not in the position to be self-insured, meaning you're not in a position to leave behind something for your family, then life insurance is going to give them the opportunity to stabilize and make decisions. And if you have enough life insurance, it will cover the loss of your income for a period of time, hopefully for at least a 1-year period of your loss of income. That gives the family enough time to make some decisions. It might be advantageous depending on your age, and this is why I'm going to bring on the insurance expert. It may be advantageous that you accomplish 3 years times your loss of income, which gives your family more time, because families are grieving when someone dies, and they're not going to be thinking clearly immediately. The first thing they're going to think about is the burial. And once the cost of that is covered, then they're going to start thinking about things like, do I need to begin to make some changes in my housing? Am I going to, because I'm grieving, make some decisions about what I can do to have some peace of mind right now, paying off bills, things to that effect. But all of that takes time. Now, I know people will say, well, it's nice if you bury your family members, but the loss of income, I don't want to pay the premiums to cover the loss of income. But the reality is you need to cover the loss of income at least for 1 year. That's the reality. It would be nice if you could cover the cost of income for 3 years. If an insurer will cover you for the loss of income for 3 years, then you need to really do that, because all of us are going to die. So life insurance is important. Not just life and disability, not just car insurance, life insurance is critical because it gives your family the opportunity to not only cover expenses, but then to make some decisions moving forward. So if an insurer will cover you for 3 years loss of income, then that's really a good equation. X times 3 years of loss of income. So if you've got it doesn't matter what it is. If you've got $100,000 of income, then it'd be $300,000 worth of life insurance. If you've got $50,000 worth of income, it would be $150,000 worth of income, loss of income. If the insurer will cover that, you should take advantage of that, because we are all going to leave here. None of us are getting out of this alive. We're all going to leave here. So we want to make certain that our families are in a good place so that they can continue on and live their lives without any real disruption. And I know some of you will say, well, someone died. It's disrupting. Yes, it will disrupt our lives for a period of time. And then we have to go on living. So we need to make certain that we're in a place where our families are taken care of and it doesn't become a burden to them. Now that I've said all of that, let's go one step further. If you have family members who are uninsured or underinsured, if you know that they're not going to take out a life insurance policy on themselves, you might need to sit down with them and find out if you can take out a life insurance policy for them so that you don't have to endure that immediate burden upon their death. It's got to be one or the other, because if they're not going to take one out on themselves, they're expecting everyone else to bury them. And so often people have to be, and if you're okay with that, then fine, but people have to be cremated because there is no life insurance. So I just want to encourage everyone, let's start thinking differently about the burdens we place upon our families, upon our departure. Let's start thinking about what we can do. What actions can we take to ensure that when we leave this earthly dwelling and get to our forever dwelling, that we know our families are well taken, let me say this, well taken care of, meaning that they have time to adjust to your departure. No, everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die, and nobody certainly wants to talk about death. But we have to address that. And since the communication came in yesterday, I've been prayerful about it and thinking about it, just how to approach with our listeners and viewers, because it's important that we make certain everyone, listen to this, that everyone has a life insurance policy on them to ensure that we can meet the cost of burial without a burden, and that we have time to adjust to the fact that our loved ones are no longer with us. Because there is a grieving process that goes along with the departure of our loved ones. It's different for everyone, but we all know that there is going to be a process of grieving after the departure of a loved one. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you can call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you over into our queue to experience T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have 4 children and now all of them want you and your husband to come and live with their families when you retire. However, you do not want to hurt any of their feelings by selecting one or the other. So, this would be very easy to address if you had children who were living different lifestyles than you're living. But the truth of the matter is, you're blessed to have 4 children who are high-functioning adults, who have established good families. What a blessing. Who have established good families. They're doing things decently and in order. So you don't have the issue of, does my lifestyle fit within their lifestyle? That's the first thing. You didn't tell me that in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. And when I read your communication, all I could do was bless the Lord. Because everyone doesn't have that opportunity where they have 4 children and all 4 of them are high-functioning adults doing what's necessary to build a quality of life. So let me begin by saying you need to praise the Lord, because I've already praised him for you. And if you don't praise him, I'll praise him by myself. So I want to say, to God be the glory, and it's a blessing that they want you and your husband to come and live with them after you retire, which is coming up very soon. You will be retiring in the next few years, so, bless the Lord. Both of you will be retiring. God allowed me to see in that secret place a method that will allow you to accomplish what all of you want to accomplish by doing things very specifically with wisdom. And so what you can do for the first year, what God, the Lord would have you to do for the first year is this. You have 4 children, and there are 4 quarters in the year. So go and spend 3 months with your firstborn child. Go and spend 3 months with the second-born child. And you didn't tell me this in your, pardon me, in your communication, but you have a set of twins. Well, you have twins. And so what you're going to do is go and spend the third quarter with 3 months with the one who was born first. And then spend 3 months with the second twin that was born following the first. You'll spend 3 months with each of them. You will have the opportunity to see who's most comfortable with you and your husband residing with them for 3 months. You will have the opportunity to allow them to see how it changes the dynamics of their household. And then at the end of the year, you can sit down with all of them during the holidays and show them. Journal for the whole year. Show them how comfortable you were with all of them, which I will tell you, you're going to be comfortable because of the lives they're living. But then you want them to be comfortable also. So that's going to be your approach. Then you can say to them, this is what we've observed, how it changed your lifestyle with us living with you for 3 months. And as you review that with all 4 of them, then you can make the best decision for all of you. And you can visit the others as often as you can. And they can visit with all of you as often as you can because you're a very close family. If the children then say, but the change of our lifestyle with you and their father residing with them was not a change that was uncomfortable or unbearable for them, you might have to start all over. And then what that means is the second year, you need to make sure during each of those quarters that you place enough at each of their homes so that if you need to do that again, you can do that. And so the second year, then reverse it. Stay with the twin that was born first for 3 months. And then a better approach. Recycle again. Start with the oldest, end with the youngest. And the reason is because you will have just come out of being with the other, with the youngest twin for 3 months. The only reason that I was going to suggest that you reverse it is because it would give you 6 months with them, and they would really have an opportunity to see, and it wouldn't be spaced out so far, but the Lord just placed it on my spirit, just recycle what you've already done. After the second year, if you can't make a decision if all of you cannot collectively make a decision on where you should live, then by then you'll have enough clothing and comfort items at each place that you can just tell them all, listen, it's been great living with all of you for 3 months at a time. What we're going to do is continue doing that every year until life changes circumstances, whatever that may look like. Because the beautiful thing is you have 4 wonderful children, and they each have spouses and children. So you're going to get an opportunity to see all of your grandchildren. you're going to get. Now, what I will recommend to you, and I'm not your financial advisor, so speak with your financial advisor about this, but what I will recommend is that you sell your home when you begin the process of living with them, because then you will not have that obligation, pardon me, and you'll be able to, even in your retirement, be able to give support to each of them while you're living with them, because that's the appropriate thing to do to make certain that everything balances out, because eventually it'll be divided between the four of them anyway, but at least if you're living with each of them for 3 months at a time, you'll be able to, pardon me, my allergies are bothering me, and we are live, so everyone understands that you will hear these noises from time to time. The reality is that you'll be able to supplement the quality of their lives while you're with each of them and the lives of your grandchildren. What a blessing. I want to say this again. We all have been blessed by God in our own ways. You have a tremendous blessing that God has done in your life. You have 4 wonderful children who are building great qualities of life. And they now want their parents to retire, to be able to live with your families and maintain the quality of life without them having to be concerned about the two of you after retirement. What a blessing. And you have the opportunity to, because of your retirement, to contribute. You have the opportunity to supplement their quality of lives by contributing. That's a great thing. Now, I can tell you right now, they're not going to want you to contribute. They're going to encourage you to go on some trips periodically, and that's a beautiful thing also. You've been blessed and highly favored by what your children want to do to ensure that the two of you, their father and their mother, have a great retirement. That's a blessing. And so I want to say to you, to God be the glory. And you don't have to select one right now. They'll understand when you say, we're going to spend 3 months with each of you. And then at the end of the year, you can have a discussion as a family to see what really is best for everyone concerned. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. If you're in any of those areas, you can stop in at their retail stores. They have everything that a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And they will database your sizes so that whenever you call and order, all you have to do is give them your customer number and what it is you would like to order, and they will ship it immediately for you to receive in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK, they also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children, everything that you could possibly need at The White Company. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are exhausted from trying to help others make right decisions when they constantly make the wrong decision and expect you to correct their consequences. Listen, I know how you wrote the communication, and just so that you know, I'm speaking directly to you. You have been someone who has been helping others make good decisions your entire life, your entire adult life. Let me say that. You've been helping them make the right decisions. They choose to then ignore the tools you've given them to build the right decisions. And they ignore those tools and choose tools that will help them dig their way into the wrong decision and into a hole. So that's part of what you said in your communication. And here's the truth of the matter. The rule of holes. When you're in a hole, stop digging. You gotta stop digging deeper. You know, at some point you might have to dig to climb your way out, but you gotta stop digging deeper. They're not doing that, and because of that, they want you to help them out of their hole. You said, but I said you want them to. They want you to correct their consequences. They want you to get them out of the hole that they dug themselves in. Here's the problem with that. Sometimes you have to let people stay in the hole they're in so that God will lead them out at the right time. You know, it reminds me of a passage in the Bible where Joseph, who his brothers were jealous of him because he was the youngest. His father had made him a coat of many colors. I'm not going to preach that sermon today, but I want you to follow with me. They dug a pit and they put him in the pit, and they were first going to kill him out of jealousy. Then they decided, we'll put him in the pit and we'll leave him there. And then instead, at some point in time, because one of the brothers said, we can't kill him and we really shouldn't leave him there because we don't know if, you know, an animal, and I'm paraphrasing, but an animal might come and kill him. But they saw some others coming by and they sold him to him. They sold him to the band that was coming by, the people that were coming by. But it was because God lifted him from the pit that he ended up in the palace. And he ruled over Egypt for a period of time, only under the king. And I say all of that to say, at some point, you've got to let people maybe stay in the hole they've dug until God lifts them out. And what that means is that if they stay there long enough, they'll figure out a way to get out of the hole that they're in. Because if you dig a hole in the ground, a deep hole in the ground, without a way of getting out, if you dig yourself into a deep hole without a way of getting out, you have no plan for getting out. You just want to go in. You want to go in and do what you want to do the way you want to do it. But at some point, if you dug that hole in the ground, you're going to have to dig on the side of that hole, a way out, an incline that you can find your way out. And God will give them the wisdom to do that, to get out of the hole they're in. Their expectation of you is too high. You shouldn't be required or feel a sense of obligation to correct their consequences, is what I'm saying to you today. The truth of the matter is we all have choices to make. And right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever choice we make, we have to live with the consequences. We might have a little suffering. It might get a little dry. We might get a little thirsty. We might get a little hungry. But at some point, God will give us the wisdom to correct our circumstances and get out of the hole that we dug ourselves into. And that all begins with you having the faith of knowing that God is still in control even when we make mistakes. He's a forgiving God. And we know that because he gave us his son, Jesus Christ, so that the shedding of his blood would offer us the forgiveness, the remission of our sins. Well, sins are self-inflicted nonsense that we do to ourselves. So the reality is, you're not expected by God. You only have to fulfill the expectations that God has for you. And if you do that, you will begin to experience the fullness of God in your life. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D is brought to you by